This video is a production of Wheels by Fleming of San Jose, California, USA, home of hand-built basic and replacement alloy bicycle wheels. I'm your host, Robert Shackelford, aka Fleming, aka Mr. Rabbit. Today's video category is technical information.
Today's topic is effective rim diameter, what it is not, and what it really is. Hello, I am back for another video. This is Mr. Rabbit, aka Fleming of Wheels by Fleming in San Jose, California. Today's topic is effective rim diameter. Effective rim diameter. First, I'm going to tell you what it is not. Then I'm going to tell you what effective rim diameter really is. First things first, effective rim diameter is not a religion. What happens a lot out there is people will pass around a definition that's static. And they'll pass it on from one person to the next, regurgitating it like it's a religion of some kind, like they drank a Kool-Aid and everybody's in the same statement mode. For example, effective rim diameter is the diameter of the rim plus the thickness of the nipples. You'll hear that one quite often passed along from person to person. Wrong. Another one you'll hear is effective rim diameter is the diameter of the rim plus plus plus. Literally plus plus plus. Wrong. Effective rim diameter is not written in stone. It's not static. It's not a religion. It's actually dynamic. I'll get to that later. Another thing you should know about effective rim diameter is that effective rim diameter is not an industry standard. It's not a white paper or engineering spec. No one owns it. No one person, no group, no organization. And if anyone should try to claim ownership of the definition and exercise some kind of power or control over it, it's probably a money grab, an attempt at monopolization, and it's unnecessary, and I'm very suspicious of that. It's not necessary to begin with. So, what is effective rim diameter really? Well, I'm going to try to get as straight as to the point as I possibly can. Excuse me. First off, effective rim diameter is simply a reference. A reference is something you can point to, something you can measure, something you can describe, and something that you can describe in terms of its relationship to other things or people. For example, I'm going to refer to the garage door behind me. That's my reference point. And I'm going to describe it. It's approximately 15 feet wide, 7 feet high, and it appears to be white. And in relation to me, that garage door appears to be about 13, 14 feet away. That's my reference. I just gave you a measurement, roughly, a description of it, and told you where it is compared to me. Simply a reference. Effective rim diameter is simply a reference. What is it a reference to? Well, effective rim diameter is a reference to the ends of the spokes in a bicycle wheel. The ends of the spokes, right here in my hand. I'm going to demonstrate to you what effective rim diameter is and tell you the definition, a dynamic definition, and you'll understand more when I continue afterwards. Here we go. Here I have an already built functional bicycle wheel. I don't see any threads outside the nipple, spokes not sticking through, spokes have some tension, wheel appears to be true. Already built functional bicycle wheel. Not a rim, already built functional bicycle wheel. It's important to remember that. Do not focus on the rim. I'm going to take the sharp toothpick, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer to the end of the spoke that's inside the nipple on this side. So I'm touching the end of the spoke. That's my reference point. I'm going to go to the spoke on the opposing side at 180 degrees. And again, I'm going to touch the end of the spoke inside the nipple. I'm not touching the nipples, I'm touching the ends of the spoke. My reference is the ends of the spokes. So now here's the definition of effective rim diameter. The distance from the end of one spoke to the end of the opposing spoke at 180 degrees is the effective rim diameter for that already built and functional bicycle wheel. I'll say it one more time. The distance from the end of one spoke to the end of the opposing spoke at 180 degrees is the effective rim diameter for that already built and functional bicycle wheel. I'm going to pause for 10 seconds and let you process that. All right. When I gave you that definition and you processed it, some of you watching this video probably felt your brains knocking on the back of your skull, or doing a core dump using computer terminology, or you did a head check like, something's not right here. That's a good thing. That means your brain's working. Your brain is wonderful. Your brain's observing, it's analyzing, and your brain realizes that there's something a little off here, or there's a twist to this. That's a good thing. You have a great brain. Don't lose it. Don't give it away. When you try to come up with an effective rim diameter, or come up with a guesstimate of the effective rim diameter for the wheel you're trying to build, that is the one step in the wheel building process where you are working backwards. I'll say it again. When you are trying to guesstimate an effective rim diameter or come up with an effective rim diameter, that is the one step in the wheel building process where you're actually working backwards. It's a lot like being a weather forecaster. See, a weather forecaster, when forecasting the weather, does not have a time machine. They can't step in the time machine, fast forward to Friday, measure the temperature, the pressure, blah, 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 come back to the present and make a perfect weather forecast. They can't do that. They have to work in the present. They have to work in the now. They have to take the temperature, read the barometer, check the radar screens, look at the clouds, put some education behind it, some experience behind it, and they have to make an educated guess about what's going to happen in the future. They're trying to make a prediction. You as a wheel builder are actually doing the exact same thing. You can't go into the future, pick up your wheel already built, and measure that distance from one end of one spoke to the end of the other. You can't do that. You're working in the present. You don't have that wheel. You have the parts. You have the hub, the spokes, and the rim, and the nipples. You're in the same situation. You have to figure out some way of predicting where the ends of your spokes will be in your future wheels. Emulate that somehow and measure that and plug that number with your finger crossed into your spoke length calculator. Now right now, you might be watching other videos. Or you might have someone whispering in your other ear saying, Mr. Rabbit's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's making stuff up. Well, if you are on the receiving end of other people questioning my definition here, well, ask them this question. Here I have two rim rods, spokes with nipples already set on them, and a caliper. Ask them, when they come up with effective rim diameter guesstimates, do they use two rim rods, stick them in the rim with the nipple set, and measure that gap in between with that caliper, and add it all up to get a number, if they do that, that is a de facto admission that my definition I just gave you is actually correct, because all you're doing when you use the rim rod method with the caliper measuring that gap in the spoke set is you're trying to emulate where the ends of your spokes are going to be in that wheel you're building using that rim. That's all you're doing. This, by the way, is the most commonly used method. And here's a graphic that shows an example of it. This graphic has two known spokes set into a rim with the nipples on, aiming points already established, with the caliper measuring the gap in between, all the numbers being added up to come up with a guesstimate for the effective rim diameter in that given situation. There you go. Another thing you need to be paying attention to when working with effective rim diameter, discussing effective rim diameters, you must remember that it is not static. You can build the same wheel over and over, using the same rim over and over. And you can have multiple effective rim diameters for that same wheel with that same rim over multiple builds. Well, how does this happen? Well, it's very simple. If you change the nipple type you're using, that's going to cause a change in your aiming point. Your effective rim diameter is going to change. If you change the nipple size, that's going to cause a change in your aiming point when you're trying to guesstimate your effective rim diameter. That's going to result in a change in effective rim diameter that you're trying to guess. If you change to a nipple that's completely different than the ones you normally work with, such as an inverted FSA nipple or a hidden hex nipple that you see in carbon rims, just like that, your effective rim diameter will change dramatically for the same wheel build, same rim, simply because you switch to an entirely different type of nipple with an entirely different type of characteristic that radically changes your aiming point. Here's a graphic that demonstrates this, showing you exactly why it is effective rim diameter is dynamic, not static. Shows the same rim, and it shows 5 different nipples. Starts off with a 12mm standard profile nipple where I'm aiming for the bottom of the screwdriver slot, and the number I have there is 549. If I change that nipple to a 14mm standard profile nipple, I'm going to shorten my effective rim diameter guesstimate by a little bit, lowering my number. If I change to a 16mm standard profile nipple, I'm going to have to change my aiming point even more, lowering it some more, shortening my effective rim diameter guess by a little bit more. If I suddenly make a radical change in nipple to a full speed ahead inverted nipple, my effective rim diameter is going to jump by 6 or 8 millimeters. It's going to increase because my aiming point has suddenly radically changed. Same for a hidden hex nipple, using the same rim for a wheel that I'm building. You change the nipple type, you change the nipple size, you change the threads in the nipple or the threads on the spoke, your effective rim diameter for that exact same rim in that wheel you're building is going to change each and every time. This is why effective rim diameter as a definition must be a dynamic one, not a static one. Again, the distance from the end of one spoke to the end of another spoke at 180 degrees in an already built-in functional bicycle wheel, that is the effective rim diameter for that wheel. Got to remember that. One more thing when it comes to effective rim diameters is some of us like to publish the numbers that we come up with. And if you're going to do the same thing, I want to ask you, please make sure that when you do publish effective rim diameters for the wheels you have built and the rims you use, please make sure you tell people exactly how you got your numbers. Here's a graphic called Publishing Your Effective Rim Diameters, Publishing Your ERDs. And it has 2 sections, yes and no. The yes section is a section showing examples where you communicate your ERD clearly. For example, my effective rim diameter was 612 millimeters when aiming for the bottom of the slot in a 12 millimeter standard profile nipple. I'm telling you my number, I'm telling you where I'm aiming, and what type of nipple, what size of nipple. I'm telling you not just my reference, but I'm describing how I got that. That will make your numbers trustworthy, because either your audience is doing the exact same thing and they'll use your number as is, or they're doing something similar and they'll massage your number. Your number's workable. It's trustworthy. In the other column, the no column, if you don't be clear about the number you're publishing, you're just being vague. Your number has no value. If you simply say, my effective rim diameter for this wheel build was 612 millimeters, well, people are going to wonder, where were you aiming? What type of nipple? What size? It's not clear. Your number's not trustworthy. It has no value. You can't do anything with it, because I have no idea how you got that number. Your audience has no idea how you got the numbers. So make sure if you're going to publish your effective rim diameters, make sure you tell people how you got that number for each wheel build for the rim that was being used, so they know exactly what you were doing. And if you run into rim manufacturers who publish numbers and aren't clear about those numbers, send them an email, give them a phone call, and say, hey, you need to tell people how you get your numbers, so we know what you were doing when you came up with that number, so we can trust your number. Put a little pressure on them. So, quick review. Let's wrap it up as quickly as I can. Effective rim diameter, it is not a religion. It is not an industry standard or engineering or white paper spec. It's not owned by anybody, not any one person, any group or organization. Effective rim diameter is a reference. It's a reference to the ends of opposing spokes at 180 degrees in an already built and functional bicycle wheel. Not the rim, the wheel. Effective rim diameter is dynamic. For the same rim in the same build over and over, you can have multiple different effective rim diameters, and this will be caused by changing the nipple type, changing the nipple size, changing the threading behaviors, because all those things will cause you to change your aiming point. Your number is going to change anytime you change those things. And again, if you are going to publish your own numbers for effective rim diameters, please make sure you tell people how it is you got that number. What type of nipple, what size, where were you aiming? And that's all for today's discussion on effective rim diameter. Thank you for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day or evening.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can visit my website at www.mrrabbit.net. Follow the link for Wheels by Fleming, and on the Wheels by Fleming main page at the bottom is my email address. Use that to shoot me an email.